What's going on today, guys? In today's video, I want to go over strategies to use on Verdansk to get you more kills and more wins. If you haven't gotten a win yet on Verdansk, I highly recommend going into Warzone Casuals, which is what we're in today. And I know that doesn't sound very enticing, but hear me out. If you're not getting as far as you think you could in regular BR, then the best way to practice is to drop into Warzone Casuals. With 120 bots, you're going to see it's clearly easier to get through the early part of the game, while there's also 28 actual players. This will give you the ability to test out other strategies, which I'm going to show you in this video. We get a win while practicing proper rotations, vehicle mechanics, roles in those particular fights, and a ton of other tips along the way. If you guys are new to my channel and you are looking for just down-to-earth, simple Warzone tips on both Verdansk and Resurgence, make sure that you like and subscribe, and let's get into today's gameplay. So we've completed a most wanted contract. We're getting enough money from those contracts to buy a loadout. Can't buy guns anymore, so we need to get that 10,000 up quickly, and the best way to do that is to complete contracts, and they stack. So as we finish the most wanted, we're going to grab our guns, push in towards zone. We're looking for enemies to fight. In casuals, it's a little bit easier experience. And again, today, we're not going to be focusing on kills. We're going to be focusing on getting a win. We want to learn different mechanics, change our play style, focus on that strategic side of the game. We're going to look at a bunch of different tactics like long-range engagements and how to properly use sniper rifles, which are the meta right now and probably will be for the duration of Verdansk. If you notice, I am using the Bird's Eye perk, which is absolutely overpowered right now. You not only get a wider field of view on your minimap, you also get a free ping from every enemy UAV that goes up. One sweep. You also get directional arrows on all of your enemies, including a red dot for those who are ghosted. It is completely overpowered. I don't know why more people are not using it. I highly recommend you check it out. We go ahead and pick up the bounty, and we're looking at that radar. We're also getting those pings from the players that are over at the garage by airport. We want to make sure that we're using cover. This is not Rebirth. We do not want to push out into the open. There could be multiple enemies stacked on top of roof ready to take us out. We want to get as much information as possible before we do the push. It's clearly a bot, but if that had been a team of 4 and we pushed out in the open, we would have been wiped. We want to be magnetized towards that cover and make sure that we are ready to escape at a moment's notice. Speaking of which, I run smokes and you should too. If you're playing on Verdansk and you're not having that in your back pocket to get out of a surprise ambush, you're just cutting yourself short. Stims are not going to save you when you're in the middle of a field somewhere. Right now, Sneaky Sausage and I are communicating that we're kind of split. The two randoms, they decide to roll up in a car. Make sure that you're coordinating those attacks, that you're ready to move throughout an area so that you're not separating too far apart, which will, again, give you more power as a team. Using the cover of the terrain like we're doing right here is we're getting low and ducking around those little molehills and mounds throughout the map, and that is a very, very top tier player mentality that you should always be rotating towards areas of slight cover that you could use to engage potentially 4 or more enemies. Once again, going up to the top of the steps and checking out the area before you move. Coming up to the edge of the truck, we're just not sure who is where. So whenever possible, stay near cover and be ready to take on the second, third, or fourth enemy at all times. It's safe to loot along the way, but you still need to be looking for intel. Here we see a recon flare, and we get audible footsteps to our left. Again, early on, these bots, they're usually singular. I've not seen them work together. I haven't seen them use a vehicle. They're just kind of there, but they let you practice your positioning. Speaking of positioning, you need to be careful when you run into the open about that cover and know those power positions, looking for towers, whether it be at airport or at the fire stations or even just the roof lines of an area. If you find yourself in an open space, be ready to change your strategy. Vehicles are the biggest part of the video that I want to talk about today, and you need to get comfortable with them. Rotating through an area, you can transport your entire team. You can also create immense distractions while your teammate is engaging, which I will be doing a lot of today. It's part of the reason that I wanted to go into casuals, is just get comfortable with all of my vehicles. I've done a lot of time with the LTV. The Bertha has a little bit different turning radius than before, and the Polaris is fast as all get out. You need to be comfortable with all of the mechanics of the game, and you need to know your role. If you are the driver, you're responsible for keeping that vehicle, and the players that do will fare so much better. And as you watch throughout the course of this win, I'm going to play the wheelman and the different tactics that I use in the fight. Here, I'm going to rotate the gas line and I'm taking elevation. We know players are here. We were just sniping at them. I'm going to take my teammates to the high ground. We're not communicating that. I'm just doing my part and getting us in position so that we can continue the fight. I'm stopping. I'm asking for pings and communication. They're telling me that they've taken care of the threat. So we're going to use that UAV that we have in pocket, which again is so critical because we're not getting resurgence pings on Battle Royale. They're going to push down towards the group of dots, and I'm going to take care of the threat that is a solo by my truck. I could be pushing for kills, but again, I'm not doing that because I want to think about the team. If this is an actual player and he's got the high ground above my team and my vehicle, I'm going to scout that out. I'm going to take care of the threat, and then I'm going to move back to the vehicle so that we can get out of zone. Paying attention to zone is really, really important. As the circle closes, you can be really far out of zone, and that can really exponentially get worse if you are caught in the open and another team is holding you and you don't have a vehicle and you don't have a gas mask. It can really get bad very, very quickly, especially when you're down teammates. So controlling those vehicles and making sure that you are there for the team to scoop them out of a bad situation and take them to safety is absolutely a top tier strategy for playing on large map battles. You're communicating, we're ready to go, the gas is moving. Players easily get distracted in a gunfight and they're not looking at the minimap. Someone needs to be the voice of reason that this is not a good fight. We need to get out and invite people to your getaway. Notice on the minimap we have a red border. I say it in all of my videos. It's remarkable how many people do not know that. It simply means you're on radar, that people know where we're at. People also know where we're at because there is a red outline on the vehicle on the minimap. So you have to be careful as the driver when you pull up to a situation. Create a distraction, use it as a weapon, or use it to get them out of there. Whenever you have fresh intel from a UAV and you have the opportunity to check the surrounding enemies, keeping that intel on deck for the next rotation is very important. There's a lot of information to manage when you are in Battle Royale, but the players that can count and remember those dots and remember those POIs are going to have the information for the next enemy when you don't have the cash. Depositing cash at the buy station, pinging it for your teammates so that they can consolidate your cash, ping it, communicate it at the buy station, let a teammate know that we can buy a UAV for either now or later and move that into zone with you on the next rotation. A wheelman's job is to effectively keep the team together as they fight. You're maintaining that gas line, and if you notice, whenever I do my rotations, I follow the outside of the bullseye. I'm clearing that, and then as I change, I'm constantly making sure that my teammates are aware of my directional change. We don't want to run off and do our own thing. Again, I compare Rebirth players a lot because a lot of my subscribers play on Rebirth. I will continue to mix that content in on the channel, but when you're switching back and forth between the two, as I like the flow of both game modes, it is very easy to get used to pushing alone. And you don't want to do that in Battle Royale if you can help it. So my team's pushed up. I'm going to maintain that vehicle. That is a huge asset, especially as we get into endgame. You'll see how we can rotate out of a bad spot pretty easily. I'm moving ahead to get intel and making sure that it's safe before I push in with my teammates. We've picked up another contract. We've stacked, I believe, 4 at this point. Those payouts are getting bigger with each completion. You can also get out of your vehicle and use it as cover if need be. As a driver, you still need to be ready to get out and fight at a moment's notice. Remember to have the correct weapon when you get in the driver's seat. There I had the sniper rifle out, and that is something that I want to make sure I'm doing before I get in the vehicles. Have the right weapon out so that when you get out of the vehicle, you have that automatic weapon and not your sniper rifle unless you intend to do that. Here I think we pull up to an actual team. Their behavior is very aggressive. They're working together. You can see they're coming through cover. They're rolling up in vehicles. So we start to play more serious. Pushing on that last known position through the gate and then backing off. I see the sniper glint, switch to the sniper, use the rotational aim assist, and snipe him through the slat. I'm able to put off the self-revive. I notice another vehicle arrive, slide out of the way just as he intends to drive us over, and yellow is able to take him out of the driver's seat, all while using good communication, good balance of using cover and strategic aggression at the right time. We're right back on that UAV. We want that intel. We've got one singular dot. It's a bot. We're going to keep on moving. We have multiple directionals below, and I'm communicating the direction down the hill, closer to TV, near stadium, using those callouts so that if a teammate is not paying attention to their minimap, they have that intel in their ear and they can start to change directions. I've never been a really big fan of using the compass degrees, but if it works for you and your team, by all means, if you want to give callouts at 220 or 360, the main issue I have with that is it's just not as universal to everyone, and I find that they spend more time looking back up at the compass, whereas if you give them the audible, they can look in the direction of your call out based on a few simple words. You can have nicknames for POIs. It's one of my favorite things to do, especially with prox chat. Players are listening at all times now, unless you're in Discord. Coming down to the wire here where we're going to start to run into more actual players. Once we've cleared the area of the threats, I'm doing my job. I'm going back towards the truck. I'm grabbing a gas mask along the way. I try to grab the cash. It does not work for some reason, and I'm getting in the vehicle as soon as possible. Parking that vehicle near the edge of the gas line made it possible for me to get it out of there. We almost had to abandon it, but I'm trying to keep up with my team so that I'm ready to participate in this rotation. We're getting pushed by another actual team. Multiple enemies working together, we're reworking those angles, and we're shifting in a formation fight or a fanned out flying V to take multiple angles. I'm also using Tracker, which is another perk that I think is extremely vital because once you get hits on a target from a distance, it's giving that outline to makes it easier to take out those enemies at range or wearing low visibility skins. Notice again, we're still taking the slow path as we go through all the different lines of cover. I'm once again returning to our vehicle, telling them to rotate, and I will pick them up along the way. The scouts out in the front of the line are giving me pings on where enemies are so that I have more information about where to drive my teammates. I'm seeing fly-ins. We're getting those out of the game as quick as possible, whether they're bots or they're real people. We want that number down to 0. You have to be careful about driving in water. On Verdansk, we want to find as shallow of an area so that we don't get stuck in the mud, and then we're going to roll towards this POI and clear it out. Blue's doing a great job of putting airstreaks on it so that whoever is trying to hold our rotation in cannot peek those windows. Sounds like we have shots all the way up the hill here. In fact, that's where I would be, and if I were them, the circle is rotating uphill. So, gonna assess where we're at, what we have left. I have pings on the radar, and I'm thinking about how I'm gonna get up that hill. It's very steep, closest behind, so I need to get a new truck, which we are here at the fire station. So I'm getting a brand new truck. I'm rotating in, looking at the wide circle for the freeholds that we have. And they're communicating that they are in COP. I also have an airstreak on the hill behind the gas station. Moving in, there are guys out front. Not enough information. I'm not going to push in there because I don't know if they're in every corner. Communicating to the team, we're going to move in together and we're going to sweep the area. Still paying attention to that UAV. Going to take the elevation, see what we can see on the hill. Catch a guy running down, get the break, and go ahead for the snipe. I'm watching that red line. I'm moving back towards the buy station. We want more information, and we need to pocket those precisions in case we get stuck in an open area. We may have lots of rotations. We don't know how many bots are left. We don't know how many players are left. Once again, consolidating the cache. We have pings in gas station. We also have the ones that I saw on the hill in their rotation. We're moving in a formation, clearing out this lower end, but conscious of the fact that there may be a sniper up on the hill. Taking the low rotation, using the rock for cover in case we need to, and we catch them rotating just as I thought off that hill. Thirsting both, and we're ready to push in zone. Safest thing to do is go farther uphill to the right, see the sniper shot ring out, call it out while I'm hitting my target. I'm going to keep pushing up the hill as they likely have a self-revive. He's able to self and knock one of my teammates, and we're down to the last guy in the game. Confirm that position with the UAV, pop the precision on the location, continue to take high ground, and open that sweep to clear the hill. Again, that's how you win a battle royale game. It's all about positioning, looking at the vehicle tactics that you can integrate into your gameplay and start to predict where players are rotating using the information. Use that bird's eye perk. Definitely look into using more smokes and less stims. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you learned something in today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as I always say, keep building, keep adapting. Sitrep out.